Hey guys, and welcome to the Pondering Nerds podcast, a Gaming Rebellion production. And tonight this is our first new episode with the Gaming Rebellion folks. And tonight, those guys you hear in there screaming in the background. We actually have an audience behind us. No, we don't have an audience. I'm just fucking around. But tonight we have with us here is Zach and Nate. Say hi, guys.
Yo.
What's up?
Yeah. And so we're just gonna kick things off, unless you guys want to introduce yourself separately and be like, say what you do, why you're here, why you have toys on your table.
Who is your daddy and what does he do? I'm Nick. What's up, guys?
Yeah, he's Nate. He's the graphic design, one of the graphic design gurus at Gaming Rebellion.
Yes,
which he's happy about. And I'm Zach. I'm the founder, and I guess the brains behind the operation, whatever the heck you want to call it. So, yeah, we're happy to have this podcast. Been looking for a podcast for a while now, so this is exciting. Our inaugural episode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
very cool.
I see a cat in the background. Do you have a cat, Nate?
Do I have a cat?
Yeah.
Sure looks like one.
I got a dog.
That's a dog.
Really, really long hair. Yes. It's a dog that is in need of a haircut.
I swore that was a cat. Like I was like, oh, is that a cat?
Hey Ozzy, they're calling you a pussy.
And that's our fourth member, the cat. That's a dog.
Cat
the dog.
Yeah, cat dog. Let's get started with the show, shall we, fellas? So we're gonna be talking about the first thing here. I believe Nate, you're the one that I believe you're out of all of us. You're the most excited about this Bloodborne, which is a game I don't know.
Zach's pretty excited about it too. He just got it. In fact, you got a PS4 just for Bloodborne, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yes,
I just bought one the other day.
So that's dedication. That is dedication right there.
Nice. I haven't played either one, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't. They're the same people who made Dark Souls, right?
But yeah, I guess I'm the one that should talk about Bloodborne because I've spent a good 300 or 400 hours in the first three games.
Yes.
Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and Dark Souls 2.
So what should we expect as far as because I stuck away from those specifically because of difficulty. So
that's why I like them.
And some people like that challenge. So are we going to be expecting? You probably know a little bit more. Are we going to be expecting the same kind of difficulty level in this, or?
Yeah, it's supposed to be even harder. Actually, they said the guys who designed the game couldn't even handle New Game Plus. Apparently, they couldn't beat. Yeah, so it's that hard, which is great. I love that's what drew me to that series in the first place was the difficulty, and I know it's not for everybody, but I think Demon Souls, the original, is still my favorite, and this one is supposed to go more in that direction. I think it's supposed to be more like the original Demon Souls. I guess there's more of a hub structure where you warp around the different areas as opposed to Dark Souls that was more open world, I guess. At least that's what I saw in one of the videos I was watching. I try not to watch too much because I don't want to spoil too much of the game, But I did watch one video before this. But last week I was like, I'm going to buy a PS4, because I want this game. It's finally a game that drove me to buy a PS4. So It was this one, and I'm excited, man. It's it looks really good.
Yeah, we'll have some videos in the description. Lance will put that in there when this gets posted. Yeah. But
when I first saw this, I didn't know it was the same people from Dark Souls. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
it kind of
from Software. Yeah,
it kind of reminded me of Devil May Cry.
Yeah, it does look like that. But also, I think it's of note the lead design. I think it was the lead designer or game lead game designer that did Demon Souls and the first Dark Souls did this game. I think Dark Souls 2 he left and someone else did it, but I think because he was working on this game. So it's the guy that did the first two games that did this one. So which is good because they made some changes in Dark Souls 2 a lot of people didn't like or at least had issues with. Same here. I like some of the things they changed, but there was other things that kind of bugged me. I actually had a harder time with Dark Souls 2 than I did with the first two games. So
Ah.
Now,
looking
I
forward to
heard
seeing
with
where it
this
goes.
one, as far as the co-op goes, in the last couple games, if I'm not mistaken, because like I said, I didn't play those personally, but I did hear that in the last games, if you wanted to have some sort of co-op where your buddy can join in, you also had to open yourself up to other people invading you and trying to come and kill you. I heard that in this one, you'll be able to password protect your server or something. So that way, if you want to play co-op, you can give your password to a buddy, and only they would be able to get into your game. So I think they're working a little bit on some of like that was another thing that really turned me off. I loved watching the streams to Dark Souls 2. But when other people would just hop in to be like, "Hey, I'm here to kill you," guess what? I have nothing to do with you, but I'm coming to kill you. And it's like that kind of turned me off just a little bit more because I was like, wow, that's horrible. Like you're in the middle of trying to do something and it's like, nope, now I got to deal with this a-hole.
Yeah, that's part of the fun for me. I think it worked better in the first Dark Souls. Dark Souls 2, it wasn't as much fun. I'm not sure why. I just didn't. I don't know. Maybe. They changed something, but in the first one it worked really well. In Dark Souls, the first Dark Souls, I thought anyway. But yeah, I wasn't aware about the password protection thing. That's interesting. I didn't hear about that. Although I did hear that I thought you would still be able to. You're still going to get invaded, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't know enough to really say one way or another. But either way, I'm excited.
Yeah, either way, it looks awesome. Like I said before I got pulled away, we got those videos that are going to be up in the description, and some of these are all IGN first videos. But they show some of the, like, one of them is this huge giant boss that is just, it's like wicked looking. It's like this half wolf, half skeleton type deal. And then there's like another video showing some of the mini bosses and other enemies. And I mean, it looks insane. Like it looks like every corner you're going to turn around and you're going to be like, what the hell is that? You know what I mean? So I'm super excited, even though like I'm a puss when it comes to, I'm totally the guy that I put it on easy. I put a game on easy so I can fly through it. Hey, listen,
Puss.
You're the opposite of me, man.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, I have friends that as soon as they load into a game, they'll put it on the hardest setting possible.
Yeah,
and I know a lot of people like that, but I've been getting better. To my defense, I have been playing a lot on normal lately. So, in my defense, that's a step in the right direction. But I am the kind of guy that I like to. The whole point to me of video game is I want to be a god. I want to be this guy that runs through and just, but to each is his own. But yeah, Bloodborne looks freaking insane. So
I'm looking at one of the videos here, and I see that he actually fight the rats of New York City. That actually makes a lot of sense.
I saw those huge rats.
He fights 3 rats. Like, I shit you not. Like, I live in New York City, so it's like I've seen rats maybe, let's see, a quarter of their size. So, and they're pretty big in this game. So,
you've never seen no dog-sized rat, Lance.
I've seen a cat-sized rat.
I find that hard to
before.
believe.
No, I've seen a cat-sized rat before. I've seen one, but it looks
rat. That's like the Rats of Unusual Size from what is that? Princess Bride? Yeah. ROTS, Rats of Unusual, or ROUS.
Ah, okay.
Usual size. Yes. Anyway.
Yeah, sorry. But that's pretty. It looks pretty good. I think I'm probably gonna pick it up. I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up day one, but I will be picking it up. It looks decent. Even my girlfriend. So I showed her some of the video of it, and she's pretty impressed. She's like, "Oh, that looks pretty." And she's not. I mean, she's becoming a gamer. Well, she was always a gamer, but she's like getting back into it. So, like, for her to be impressed with this particular game, it was kind of a shock. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, the art style is really good and it's really gothic looking.
Yeah.
I really like that. I like the art style a lot. I'm glad they went in that direction.
Mm-hmm. And the animation,
a lot of the buildings got that Victorian kind of look. It's like a lot of brass, a lot of really interesting colors and textures and stuff like that. So yeah, it looks the world is going to be like extremely fun to just explore and see all the sights and stuff. So
sounds good. All right, so let's move on here. So to our next topic on the list is we're going to be talking about some Australians. Anybody ever been to Australia before?
Nope. I've been close, but no.
Yeah.
I've been to oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I lived on Saipan and Guam, which was in the middle of Australia and Japan, but that's about as close as I got.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I've been to Indonesia, down to Bali, so I was really close, but not quite.
Oh, dude, I heard so many crazy stories about Bali. That's another podcast, but I heard crazy stories about Bali when I was in.
Yeah, Bali is. I'd really like to go back there. It's one of the best places I've ever been to on Earth, by far.
You got $7, you will live like a king in Bali.
Really? In Bali?
It was really cheap. Yeah, it is really cheap. Anywhere in Indo is cheap. At least when I was there about, God, it was 15 years ago. But yeah.
I mean, like, these guys in Australia here are doing some very interesting stuff with carbon fiber suits, where I don't know if you guys can see the link. It's pretty gnarly. It looks like the Batman suit in real life, and they're using it to have these gladiator type fights for whatever reason. I guess Australia's into fighting gladiators. Who knew that was a thing down there? But the thing that really caught my eye was just the design of these suits are just insane. Especially if you look at one of the pictures that's further down in the article, there's a guy holding on 2 axes, and the back of the suit is just, it looks like something you see in a movie, not something that's, oh, this is attainable. I can actually have this, if I wanted to be a professional carbon fiber fighting guy or whatever.
Seriously, that's as close as we're going to get to just bringing the Colosseum back from Rome days. I mean, it's like, people used to watch wrestling like WWE, and there's still a lot of fans, but people used to watch that to get their violent fix. And then UFC came out, and people were like, well, bump that. These guys really beat each other up, you know what I mean? And I always thought that the only way that could get more violent is if they just gave the UFC fighter weapons. Like, oh, here you go. Here's some weapons. Here's an axe. Do something with that. But yeah, this just seems like the next evolution. I would not, depending on how popular it gets, because I know there was this jousting type deal where they wore the same type of suits. And it was a jousting competition. So I'm wondering if this is just going to be a fad, or if this is actually going to turn into something that's I don't know. It could be really big. It would be cool to see people just go at it with one person's got this big broadsword and another person's got 2 little axes or something. I mean, that's what you see on movies and stuff, but something tells me it just it would be cool for 5 minutes. And then when you see that it's not flips and, bedazzle and all that, it'd just be boring after a while. But it's a cool concept though. I love this.
It is a cool concept, but I was looking at it and, I just have my doubts about how those suits could hold up against a real axe or a real sword. It looks like the stuff they're using is blunt. Like those axes that you see the tips, they're blunt. They're not really sharp. Yeah. So, I want to see some real weapons. Yeah, the guy's got nunchucks, another guy's got a bow. It looks like, it's cool, but like I said, I have my doubts as to whether the suits will actually hold up to real weapons. Like actual sharp weapons. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah. There's a bit of technology behind the suit, from what I can tell from the videos and just reading the article. They have sensors in certain hit points where, I guess, in jousting, so I guess you win by hit points and shit. So, and there's a computer on the side that tells you how many points you've gotten, strike to the head, strike to the torso, strike to the legs, or whatever. And so you get more accurate readings and see who wins a match this way. But
somebody during mid-match is going to go lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt. That's 10 HP, bro.
The whole body.
Well, maybe they'll have a taser in their hand or something. Who knows?
Yeah. My thing is with from the video that they're showing and everything like that, and just everything is Is this suit comfortable? Is it going to be? That's my only question. Is is it breathable? Am I going to sweat my ass off?
You're going to sweat. You're going to sweat your ass off,
and it's going to be uncomfortable. And I mean, and to kind of tie into this story, we had another topic: the guy that developed the Batsuit, and that one looked comfortable. Like, since we're talking about comfortability, I mean, that one.
The only thing they're missing is a cape.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, like, well, some of them don't look that bad, like some of these high-grade suits. And this guy who made this bat suit, this full-on bat suit, claims that it can withstand baseball bats, machetes, and a couple other objects. Like, the machetes is what I would be interested to see.
Exactly.
Like, let me have a machete and take a couple whacks and see if your arm's still good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, the Batsuit guy didn't have. It looked like it was just chest armor. It didn't look like he had it on his arms and legs, at least from what I could tell from the pictures.
There are. It looks like I'm looking at the picture now. There are some armor around his arms with the the 3 little blades. I guess I forgot what they're called. And he has
he's using the block.
Yeah, and he has armor on his shins as well. But between like his thigh and his side body, I don't know. I mean, unless there's like other padding, maybe that's just for the look.
That's like your most vulnerable part. Like,
yeah, that helmet looks ridiculous, man. His Batman helmet does not look good at all.
Does.
Yeah,
God,
it does.
I love the picture of him standing there trying to look all badass. And it's like,
stoic.
Dude, you look like you're late for Comic-Con. That's what you. Look like. Sorry.
I wanted to bring something up with this discussion. Have you guys ever heard of Phoenix Jones?
Phoenix Jones.
Phoenix Jones. That name sounds familiar.
That's he's the real life superhero guy. Lives in Seattle. That has his own crime fighting syndicate. Have you heard of him? If you haven't, look him up. He's he records a lot of his patrols he goes on with his other guys. They're all in full costume. They go out literally. It's cool, man. Like, he's actually stopped a lot of crimes. This guy, he's a big buff dude. And he it's like his passion in life. It's pretty cool. I think he does MMA fighting too now. Actually,
wow.
Like, he fights.
I just see that ending horribly. Like, I see that him being like, "Hey, you drop those like, he's just like, you can't. I think
his costume looks badass though.
Actually, yeah, his costume I think is bulletproof. Parts of it.
His face.
He's been doing it. Yeah, that's true. He's been doing it for a number of years, so he's at least 5 years, I think now. So I thought I'd bring that up because it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Wow. How
is he not like a how is he not like a character in a comic book somewhere? Because looking at all these pictures.
I'm pretty sure there's fan art, and I'm pretty sure someone did do a comic with him in it. I think. I'm not sure, but yeah, if you Google image him, man, he's got an act. I think he has.
Yeah, I just see one right here. It looks pretty badass. Like, his suit is actually pretty impressive. Like, for this like real life vigilante, that's pretty cool.
They caught him in an interview there in full costume there, sitting in a radio studio. Yeah, he's.
That's really cool.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see how the local authorities react to his.
It's mixed. Yeah, it's mixed. A lot of them don't like him, but then there's ones that do, I think. But I know he does take a lot of shit from the cops if he gets in the way or whatever.
Yeah. I would imagine it's just something you don't. Everybody. Cops are like, "Are you trying to take our jobs from us?" I'm like, well, some of you guys are kind of shitty with doing it. So
yeah. No, his wife's a crime fighter too. I think her name's Purple Rain, but they got pictures of her there with him too. They both go out patrol. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Purple Rain. She looks kind of like.
If I'm not mistaken, is she has purple hair?
Yeah, purple hair.
Yes.
Yeah, that's her.
Yeah, there's a picture of them by what looks like a metro.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yep. Very, very nice.
She looks like who is it? Is it Melina from Mortal Kombat? One of the Mortal Kombat characters. She looks like.
Yeah.
Now, what city is this guy based out of?
Seattle. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So not the most violent city in the country, but
that's what I was wondering, because I was like, let's go drop him into a place where he might actually piss off an organized crime figure.
Put him in Miami. LA,
it's almost like a kick-ass scenario. It's like, yeah, you can run around and do that vigilantes type stuff, but eventually you're going to piss off the wrong guy, and whether he stabs you or whatever may go down. I mean, anyway, yeah, more power to him, but at the same time, it's like you got to wonder if he's all there, man. I'm sorry, that's like, I don't know, man. If Batman was real, I would look at Batman like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing?
Hey, man, don't be shitting on my parade here.
I'm not. It's cool. I know. It's awesome.
You're playing devil's advocate. That's cool. I understand.
I think they're like there's a comic book Ex Machina You should definitely read that. It talks about how impractical it is to be a superhero in real, and it's about this guy who something went off and gave him this ability to control certain weapons. And he somehow became the mayor of New York City. So, and from what I've read so far, one of his big crises is dealing with the snow, dealing with
the
in the clouds out there and everything like that. And it's a pretty interesting book. It definitely delves into that whole, being a real life person and having a real life job, and then I can do all this extra shit, but I can't really go do it because there's so many laws in the way. And
exactly.
Yeah, definitely, I would say definitely pick up Ex Machina. It's a pretty cool book.
Cool.
But let's move on, fellas, to our next topic here. So if you guys want to check out, we should mention the guy who created the Batman suit. He's a student at Philadelphia University. So he's doing something there. And
cool.
So next up on our topic here is a bit sad. If you've been under a rock, or you're just heartless, I don't care who you are. I don't even care if you like Star Trek or not, but I'm going to talk a little bit about Leonard Nimoy. And, he recently, as everybody knows by now, he recently passed of, I believe he was battling cancer, if I'm not mistaken.
It wasn't cancer. It was something related to smoking, but I can't even remember what it was. It wasn't cancer, though, but it was something similar.
Respiratory failure, something like that.
Oh, so something to do with the lungs.
It was a respiratory disease, that you get from years of smoking. I know he smoked for, I think, 50 years or something.
Yeah.
He quit about 20 years ago, but he said it, was too little, too late. But he still made it to 83, so you can't really.
And had an illustrious career. I mean, if you look at his IMDb, I mean, it dates back to 51. And he was born in 31, so I mean, you have to think that by the time he got his first role, he had already been acting prior to that as well. So to get his first role at 20 and then to be in the industry for, 62, 63 years, just amazing, you know what I mean?
And so he's done voiceovers for video games as well, which is really cool, like Kingdom Hearts 3D, Dream Drop, Distance. He has
I think Civ 4, I think he did the voiceover. I think it was Civ 4, Civilization 4. Yep. He did all the voiceovers.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's done,
Transformers, 2 Transformers movies, the original cartoon, and then the what was it, the third Transformers, I think he did also.
Dark Side of the Moon, I believe.
Yeah, Dark Side of the Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, just a crazy, he's one of those guys that you wish as a nerd you could just sit down and have a beer with and just let the knowledge flow. You know what I mean? Like he just had that kind of presence, I mean, aside from just making Mr. Spock legendary, he's just done so much to contribute to nerd culture in general. You know what I mean? It's like, it's losing, like if we were a MTV podcast, it would be like losing, I don't know, some, Madonna or something, like some crazy figure that's been around forever. You know what I'm saying? I definitely didn't like cry or anything. I'm not that kind of person. But when I saw that, I was like, oh no, really? You know what I mean? Like it really kind of impacted me like, dang, Leonard Nimoy, man, it's just
guy seemed immortal, I figured he'd be around into his 90s for sure. That's why I was really bummed. I was like, damn it, I want another 10 or 15 years with this guy, doing stuff. Yeah, it was a bummer, but it is what it is.
He's lived long and prospering in the sky now.
Yep, that's what everyone's been saying.
But
even his final tweet was really good too. I don't know it offhand, but it was very poetic and it was very fitting as basically his final words. He did it I think the day before he died or something.
Yeah, it was a couple days before. Like he knew.
He knew it was coming.
Yeah.
It's sad, man, but I hope my prayers go out to his family, and I hope that he was at peace. You know what I'm saying? And from what you're saying with the Twitter, it kind of sounds like he was a little bit. So, it's kind of good for us to keep that in mind. That it's something he knew was coming. It's something he had been fighting for a while, and he just lost a battle, you know what I mean? But, you know, he left such a legacy that it's not like his name's going anywhere. I mean, I'm pretty sure 20, 30 years from now, people will still know who Leonard Nimoy was just off the top of their head.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you know, me personally, I've been watching Star Trek since I was a kid. And, you know, even the black and white ones, you know, and all the way up to the terrible one with Scott Bakula. But it's and I really do enjoy the last set of movies, that especially see him showing up as Spock Prime. That was a huge treat for me. Like, you know, seeing the first one that J.J. Abrams did and just seeing him on screen with, like, you know, the younger version of himself. I was just like, oh shit, this is geeking out. I just couldn't.
Now I do have to ask, because I am not that big of a Trekkie, at least as for the original series. What is the difference between Mr. Spock and Spock Prime? Like, is Spock Prime after the incident in one of the movies?
It's just shit that they made up for a new movie, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not really, you know.
I thought that was like his Super Saiyan form or something.
A lot of hardcore Star Trek people took issue with the new movies, you know, because they went away from canon. They blew up Vulcan. They did all this other stuff, and I didn't really care about that. I liked the movies. I particularly liked In the Darkness. That one I enjoyed a lot. That's the one people seem to bitch about the most, but I liked it.
I thought Edward Cumberbatch did an amazing job.
Yeah, he was good. He was good. I really enjoyed seeing the Klingons again.
Yeah.
Yeah, they flipped that whole thing on its head, which I liked, you know. But I know hardcore Star Trek people were just, you know, complaining about it.
Get over it. They were good.
I'm a hardcore Star Trek person. It didn't really bother me. You know,
yeah, they were great.
I didn't mind.
Like, I thought
you gotta embrace change and embrace bringing something into the future. You know, this is the way I see it. You know, modernizing it.
Yep.
I mean, it's like, okay, I love Star Trek, so I've been watching. I think I have most of the old movies on Blu-ray right now in a box set, and they were made in the time of, you know, for what it is. And, you know, different directors and stuff like that. J.J. Abrams obviously is a completely different person when it comes to taking these franchises, and which, by the way, I think he has too much power, and he's pretty much going to have like Star Wars.
That's why the whole Star Wars deal kind of went sour. Like, he's directing the first one, but he's not directing the next two because, you know, supposedly the rumors were that he wanted too much power, and Disney was like, no, we're going to get somebody else to direct the next two. You know, that's the rumors anyway.
In all honesty, I would much rather have J.J. Abrams be the supreme dictator over Star Wars than Disney. Simply for the fact that the reason you see characters as bad as Jar Jar is because that was George Lucas's attempt to draw in that younger audience and try and give some kind of comedic background. Like in the first three movies, you see C-3PO kind of filled that role. You know, him and R2's antics were kind of the comic relief, so to speak. And then, you know, with Jar Jar, Jar Jar is just so renownedly hated. But like, Lucas.
Yeah, I like the prequels. I can't even defend Jar Jar though.
Yeah, I mean, and Lucas said he specifically put that character in there. And maybe it might have been you, Zach. Somebody told me recently that Jar Jar died in the original cut of it. That like in the scene, in the scene where they go underwater and they're trying to flee that big thing that's chasing them or something. In the original script, Jar Jar's character like freaks out and like leaves the ship and like gets eaten by this thing. And that's how it should have went. Like, that's how it should have went.
Well, he basically died anyway because he was barely in the next two movies. So I think Lucas got the message.
He was in there enough to fuck the whole galaxy. I mean, he was in there enough to give the Emperor, Supreme Leader, Chancellor thing, whatever. Yeah. So, I mean, it was enough to fuck the whole game. He's like, I'm so only here for a minute, sir, but I give him power, sir, and you're fucked, sir.
True.
He actually lives on in what's the series they had on Clone Wars, the series.
Clone Wars, yeah.
And I watched that entire thing, which is it was great in the beginning, kind of in the middle, and then but you do see Jar Jar I wouldn't say a lot, but the scenes and different stuff that they give him. He's pretty much useless most of the time, a bumbling idiot. I think, the reason, my only theory for like having Jar Jar in Star Wars was to have this kind of weird I wouldn't even say cute character, but just like this character that you can sell toys of. And
it's one of those things. And then it's also like, I think J.J. Abrams has the opportunity to kill off Jar Jar in the opening scenes of this new movie. Like, and he could do it tastefully. Like, he wasn't in 4, 5, and 6, obviously. So, they could have it so that Jar Jar went off to some distant planet to live out his days, and the next time we see him, he's on his deathbed, and he's imparting he's imparting some stupid, hilarious, information onto somebody, and then he dies. And people who actually liked that character, the very small number of people,
I don't know anyone that does.
I was going to say, but it's at least a respectful death for anybody who might like that character.
I think that JJ is just going to ignore most of what happened in the prequels and just stick to...
they tried. In fact, they tried to, if I'm not mistaken, they officially tried to say the first 3 movies didn't happen. That was part of their own thing, and that 4, 5, and 6 was where we're going to go from. But I personally believe that they could not only kill off Jar Jar, which is one thing that they could do to just make fans happy across the board, but they could also fix the midichlorian thing really easily. That was another really big thing with a lot of Star Wars fans when George Lucas said, no, it's not, the Force isn't some mystical thing that anybody can use. You either have midichlorians or you don't.
Yeah, that didn't bother me. I didn't really care about that.
Some people, I know,
there are people that definitely were crazy about it.
Yeah, dude. And he
it was a bit of
that in one... he can fix that in one setting. He could just have it so that there's a child character that wants to be a Jedi. They test them for midichlorians, and they're like, sorry, you don't have any fucking midichlorians. You can't be a Jedi. And at the end of the movie, he's looking at something, starts to levitate, black screen. You know what I'm saying? Like, fixes it, done data. J.J. Abrams, if you're listening to this, you can have that, because I'm telling you, like, you could fix it in an instant. You know what I mean? So,
that was kind of weird about the midichlorian thing, but I'm not gonna.
We started on Leonard Nimoy. How we got to Star Wars? I haven't.
We got to
It's my fault.
Sorry,
I
Mr.
mentioned.
Nimoy. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mentioned J.J. Abrams, and
Yeah, and then that's true. The J.J. Abrams thing. Then I brought up Star Wars. Yeah, it's my fault. And Lance's fault.
It's
my fault. Sorry, y'all. My bad.
Tangents.
Yeah, but it's very sad that he lived a very full life, Leonard Nimoy, and I wish him and I wish his family the best in everything, and it's one of the greats gone. So, all right, let's move on to another topic, something a little bit more upbeat and fun. We're going to talk about Jam and Earl Back in the Groove Kickstarter by Human Nature Studios. At this point, it is not fully funded. It is about a little under $100,000 out for, it's 8 more days to get into this. So I would say definitely support if you were a fan back in the day. And get on up on it, man. Come on.
Yeah, I saw some of the on the Kickstarter itself, the actual prizes that you get. Well, not prizes, but the stuff that you get for contributing and stuff. Some of that was some awesome nerd swag.
The figurines for sure, man.
Yeah, I wanted to donate just to get the figurines. Unfortunately,
as far as I know, there are no Jam and Earl figurines that have ever been created. So that's why a lot of people were. I saw those and I was like, ooh, yeah. I don't think they were ever. Well, I could be wrong. Maybe back in the mid '90s when they were popular, maybe. But yeah, I know you're a Sega boy. You weren't a Sega boy, Nate. But Lance, have you had any experience with the games or no?
Just the Well, yeah, I played the first. The only one that I've ever actually got my hands on was one that my cousin owned on. I forgot what system it was on. Jesus Christ,
Sega.
It was either on Genesis or Xbox. Those are the only 2 platforms it's been on. So
yeah, it was Sega,
the original games.
Yes, it was Sega Genesis. Yes, now I remember. Yeah. My cousin had one, and I played it. He just had it in the corner. I'm just like, oh, what's that? I just start playing that. And every time I go over by his house, that's all I would play because I thought it was pretty cool.
So what did Mr. Johnson like? Why did he want to revive this? Why? Because you did an extensive interview, and we're gonna have that also in the description. So please check out that interview. But why did he say he wanted to bring this back now?
basically, because of all the retro love that's going on in the last, I don't know, I guess it's probably about the last 5 years, maybe, things have really started going. People are becoming interested in these older games again. And so the last Jam and Earl game came out in 2002 on the Xbox, which was a really odd platform for it to come out on after being on the Genesis. But that's a whole nother story. But he was starting to get feedback from people, because he's created games for 30 some years, and he's never stopped working on games, and he's felt the time was right, and it was a happy coincidence that I got in touch with him right before the Kickstarter, for another article I was doing. And he was like, "Oh, we got a new Jam and Earl coming, and then it just one thing led to another, and next thing I know, I'm interviewing the guy. So it was, he felt it was just time, and Jam and Earl are like his children, they're like they're his creations. That's how he feels about them, they're very, very special in his life, and all the support from the fans, the diehards like me, because I'm definitely one of them, has really motivated him to do it, and I'm pretty sure the Kickstarter is going to succeed. There's still a ways to go, but it's about 80% right now, so it's close, I think we'll do it.
Now, what happens if, absolute worst, they don't meet the goal? Are they still going to be able to make it, or?
I don't know. I'm not sure what his plans are in that case, because I've mentioned that to him and said, hey, you could just go to Indiegogo if this doesn't work and recoup most of the money, easily. All the same people will donate and blah, blah, blah. But I'm not sure what he's planning on doing. He made it sound like this was it. If it doesn't succeed, then it's probably not going to happen. But I don't know. But guys probably say it on Kickstarter, because they want people to fund it, But
yeah, I thought it was a bit of a gamble to go with Kickstarter, because I don't know if people know how Kickstarter works. Is if you're not funded, you don't get any money, pretty much. And there's a negative stigmata towards Kickstarter now. In the last couple of years, people are just getting tired of it, because a lot of guys, like Peter Molyneux and a lot of other guys haven't delivered on their promises, so people are getting jaded about it, starting to, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. I mean, it's especially, like you said, with the retro craze that's kind of been happening the past couple of years. It's awesome to see titles like this getting revamped and getting, brought out. So definitely, guys, if you guys can head over to Kickstarter and fund that, we're going to have a link in the description. Definitely head over there, check it out, support it if you can. Like I said, you get some really cool nerd swag if you can do that. So do that as soon as you can.
One of the pledge levels is I think that the highest one you can go is about 10 grand or something like that.
Which there are like 2 people.
I noticed that. There are 2 people that have donated the 10 grand. Dude, I would if I had the money, dude.
Oh, yeah.
If I had $1 million in the bank, I'd be like, here you go, man. I'll fund the whole game myself. Whatever, here you go. But, I can't, obviously. I'm sure that's how a lot of the Jam and Earl fans are diehards, man. They're really... That's why I think even if it doesn't quite reach its goal, because even if it doesn't reach it, it'll get damn close. I think it'll be enough to be like, okay, how can we make this happen anyway?
Yeah.
So, but I'm pretty positive it's going to make it. And I really think the last couple of days, I think are going to be nuts. I know IGN just did an article. I think GameSpot's going to do one. A couple other big publications maybe that'll probably help it along. And I know Greg told me today he's got about 7 interviews lined up this week.
Nice.
So he's really going to town. We talk pretty much daily. We communicate over email, just filling each other in on what's going on. And I'm trying to do my best to help him. I'm going to be promoting all week. I've got my Hootsuite all set up with Twitter, with tweets about Jam and Earl all week with links to the Kickstarter,
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah.
So, got to make it happen.
It's looking cool, man. It's looking like the screenshots that I've seen. And at one time, has he settled on a final art style for the characters? No, it's still kind of
not really. It's still. I mean, that style. He has settled on like a '90s comic book style, but what you see is it's such a rough draft. It's such a. And he's emphasized this a lot. He said, "Look, he's like, we threw this together in 3 months. What you see, this game demo, and he's like, this is a pre-alpha build,
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have been questioning that about the art and the way the game looks, and people got to realize that that's not even close to what the final game is.
Oh yeah, and see that's what a lot of people don't understand when they see these slices from whether it's these big conventions like PAX or E3. You see these slices of a video game, and it's awesome. It's got to be much easier on an Indian developer, at least as far as pushing your own deadlines and stuff like that. But when you have these big corporations that show up to these events with their game, sometimes you're seeing such a small slice. It's almost like it's borderline immoral to show those slices because it like those the final product could just be so much different. I mean, case in point, Alien Colonial Marines. Like there was a bunch of stuff that they showed where that just looked awesome, and then when the game came out, it was just such crap. Everybody was like, "This is ridiculous."
There's memes out there now about I forget what game it was, but there was one where it said, "This is what the game looks like at E3," and then it showed a picture of like a PS1 game. It's like, this is what it looks like after E3 on release.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I'm like, from what I saw, from all the artwork and stuff that I saw, it's definitely one of those games that I hope to be able to play. I hope it gets the funding. I do have a question. Is he going to be, now is this, see, with the retro craze, and I didn't really play the original Toe Jam and Earl, so how is it like Mega Man, where it's like if you don't get all the way to the end of the level, you die and you have to go back to the beginning, or is he kind of updating mechanics a little bit, or how is that?
No, it's nothing like that.
Okay.
Well, the first game and the second game are completely different types of games. The first game is more, everyone keeps calling it a roguelike because the levels are all randomly generated. It's never the same game twice, and but it's funny you mentioned dying going back to the beginning because that's what happens in a roguelike. But in this one, you don't. You have lives, and when you die, you just respawn where you are, basically. Gotcha. So it's not, the game can be hard if you don't know what you're doing, but it's not that hardcore. I'd say that the second game is a traditional 2D platformer, like you're used to seeing, like a Mario game, But the first game was not like that at all. It was isometric, big sprawling, like I said, random levels to explore. Just very different for its time, which is why I think it's still got such a following even today, But that's what they're going for, is the game one look and feel of that original, the original game.
Okay. And I did see that if they, right now they're trying to hit their mark for, making the base game and stuff like that. And I saw that had they raised a certain amount, they were going to try and bring it to multiple platforms. So
I think that'll happen. I think that'll happen anyway, even if I think if it gets funded, I think. I had this talk with Greg too about the Kickstarter levels, because I think it was a mistake for him to, don't tell him I said this, to
I hope he doesn't hear this.
This is the only criticism I will level his way, is the only thing. I got no problems with anything else, and a lot of people have been mentioning this, that I think the Kickstarter tiers, like the way they did it with the consoles, it kind of demotivated people to donate. Before he was like, well, if we can, we'll bring it to consoles, and it wasn't a goal. I think you should have just left it that way and made the stretch goals something else. That way, even people that wanted to play it on another platform wouldn't have thought, oh, the game has to make it to 800,000 for me to play it on the Wii. It's like, or 600,000 to play it on the PS4. But like I said, even if they get the funding, say in a year they go to Steam Greenlight. They go to early access. They can make more money that way. Then they could use that to port to the consoles. There's a lot of different avenues I think they have to go. So I think if the game's successful and is actually made, they'll get it to consoles somehow.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just one of those like, even if you've never played it, you've heard of Toe Jam or Earl, and I think it's it's just one of those games that, and I kind of agree with you, because I kind of felt the same way when I was looking at the projections for, if we raise this much, we'll bring it to PS4. And, as somebody that doesn't play a bunch of computer games or iOS games, it was a little disheartening, because it was like, I want to play it and I want to support it, but God, but I mean, as long as people know that it is potentially going to be ported over regardless of how much it's raised initially, that's definitely something that people should.
This is just my own hunch. He didn't say this to me, but that's just based on what I know about the games industry, and I keep up with Steam and a lot of the early access stuff and the way those work. And this is how there's a lot of Kickstarter projects. Richard Garriott's Shroud of the Avatar was one. I don't know if you know anything about that, but that was launched a couple of years ago on Kickstarter, raised like $2 million or something for this game.
Wow.
And they ended up going to Steam Steam Greenlight and early access, and they're making more money that way. So not only that, but the developers can open Patreon accounts. They can go back to Indiegogo if they need more money for other features, and people will give it. I'll donate more. If he's gonna put more features in the game, and I'll be like, yeah, I'll donate another $10-$20, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that'll probably happen.
That's awesome,
in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I'm really looking forward to it, man. It's going to be one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'm hoping that not only does it come out, but it comes out where I can play it. You know what I mean? Because it's definitely something I would like to see. So.
Yeah, you and your 720p monitor in your laptop.
Well, I mean, but see, that's the great thing about this game, right? It shouldn't be too taxing.
It shouldn't. It really shouldn't.
I mean, you would think, hopefully, it's not going to be too taxing on your hardware, but we'll see. Looks great though. All the art, like I've said several times now. Go over, guys. Head over to Kickstarter. Check that out. Also, head over to GamingRebellion.com and check out Zach's interview with Greg Johnson's really awesome article. So, and we have a video format of it as well. So
2 hours.
2 hours.
Damn.
It was a long interview, but it was a lot of fun.
Cool. Well, it will all be in the description when we post this video.
Cool.
Well, that's bring us to the end of the show. Before we go, we should let's talk about a little bit about what we've been playing. Because the reason why I'm bringing this up because of what Nate was playing last night. So real quick, I'm just gonna start off with myself here. I've been playing a game called Ingress. It's I don't know if have you guys heard of that?
I don't think so. No.
I what little you've told me about it, but go ahead.
It's like a Easter hunt, as my girlfriend would call it, but I should say a scavenger hunt. So it's a game you download for your phone. It's completely free. It was Android first. It's made by Google actually, and you just go out and you find these little landmarks that have these things called portals, and you just you hack them through your phone. You can either hack and then you deploy these things called resonators to protect them, and torrents and all this other crazy shit. I know it sounds uber nerdy and it's stupid as hell.
It sounds like Watch Dogs, but real life version of Watch Dogs.
Because you can't. That's the thing. You
and probably more fun.
It's actually a lot of fun. And you can't play the game from your home. You can't sit in your chair and play this. You have to actually leave. You have to walk to this destination. You get in your car. So it encourages you to get out and actually. I mean, it looks kind of weird. You're standing in front of a church and you just kind of sitting there with your phone, staring at just tapping away. So people just looking at you. What the fuck are you doing? But
and like I said to you that when we first talked about this, man, I just see this ending badly, man. It's just the pessimist in me, I guess. But I see you standing on a corner, right, and you're hacking some dude's portal, and that dude is right down the street, and he knows that you're hacking his portal. He's like, "Hey, what the fuck, man?" I've actually street altercation going on because of this.
Yeah, I've actually cursed out loud on my bus ride home. Because you get notifications. You get notifications such and such is attacking your phone. I'm like, fucking hell! It's and I just started, so I'm level 2, and these guys level 8, so they're kicking my ass. So, but me and my girlfriend. This is totally a city. This is a city game, man. You could not play this type of game where I'm at, or probably where Nate's at either. No, I think
that's what I said.
Florida.
Also, I was like, you try to play that in the country, and you go stand in front of somebody's house. That's a shotgun. Okay, I'm gonna walk away from here.
I mean, so far, quite honestly, I haven't done any portals that's related to somebody's personal home. It's always a business or a bank or some shit. It's always something public. It's never a person's home. I don't think I would go to those places even if they had them. But yeah, I've been playing English.
See, I would deliberately put up
you
portals.
mentioned.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned when you're on the bus. And I'm thinking, I can't tell you the last time I rode a bus, man. It's it's just not something that's in my life. I drive everywhere because everything is so far. I can't. Me and my wife take a walk every day, and it's like a 2-mile walk just around our neighborhood, man. We can't. There's nowhere else to walk that's within walking distance. You got to walk 10 miles, to get somewhere. So
people in
this
the
game
South
sounds really
don't
cool,
understand mass transit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We don't get it. We're
Exactly.
just like
Yeah.
subway, bus system. What? It's not got a car. I don't need that. I'm good.
Subway's down here.
It's pretty packed here in New York City. Like everybody's on top of each other pretty much, and that's why a lot of people are so angry in the subway all the time. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. So
I just have to say really quick, like I would totally be an asshole in that game and just like deliberately go to businesses that have very clear no loitering or solicitation signs and make people stand outside that every time they wanted to do my portal, so that way they just, you know, I don't know. Yeah. I would just be an a-hole. Like,
yeah, I'm not even sure like at what level you would have to be to create a portal, but you know, I've seen someone who was like a level 15, so I guess at that point I probably would do it, but I'm so far behind. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. So what about you, Nate?
Well, like you kind of said last night, I just got Final Fantasy Type 0, which came with the Final Fantasy 15 demo, and been playing both of those the past couple days. They've been really cool, man. Like I said, they like I was telling Zach kind of before the show, they really have changed the just fundamentals of the combat system in a Final Fantasy over the years. I mean, you've seen this progressive change. It didn't go from turn-based to action all at once. It's something that you saw gradually, like in Final Fantasy 13, 13-2. But now it's totally action-based. And I love Final Fantasy 15 so far. The demo the demo that came with it, been loving it. The camera is really wonky. They got a couple of things that they got to work out. And like we were kind of talking about with Jam and Earl, a demo's a demo. Things could definitely change by the time the final product comes out. So it's not something that's set in stone. But the camera is kind of wonky in Final Fantasy 15. I will have to go and say that. But other than that, it's been awesome. I've also been on a Telltale kick here recently. Wolf Among Us, Walking Dead Season 2, Game of Thrones. I haven't even given Tales of Borderland a chance yet, but that's simply because I have my own prejudices against it, I guess. But
he hates Handsome Jack.
Well, no, I just, I don't see, like, the whole thing with Borderlands is it's a first-person shooter that the only dialogue in the game is there simply. You listen to it while you're going from A to B or while you're picking up a quest, and it's usually funny, and it usually is really quick, and then you're back out shooting and looting. You know what I mean? And with Tales of Borderland, it's like, every Telltale game, they usually tell these really dramatic, really, makes you think, makes you want to pick the right choice. And I don't know if I would get that seriousness from it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I guess I would have to watch more gameplay on it, but anyway, been loving all that, so.
Hey, cat.
Yeah.
That's my kitty.
He's a kitty.
Yeah, this is one of my kitties.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Say hi, Mocha. You say hi. You say hi. Yes.
What have Zach and Mocha been playing recently?
Yeah. It's funny because me and Nate before the show were talking about JRPGs, and I was actually trashing JRPGs mostly. But the funny part is I'm playing a JRPG right now. There's a good
the
reason.
mighty have fallen.
Yes, they have. This is the first. It's the first. Well, I played Ni no Kuni a couple years ago, and that's what kind of turned me off. I was like, I'm done with JRPGs because
really?
Ni no Kuni.
I love Ni no Kuni. Screw you, dude. That was a game.
I got so tired of it, man. Yeah, the art style was great. It was funny, and but the characters weren't all that interesting, and it just got so tedious.
It is.
But anyway,
it is long.
Yeah, it was way too long.
Yeah,
way too long.
Go ahead.
And the amount of grinding it took.
Yes.
I'm playing a game called Pierre Solaire, which is I talked about it in my interview with Greg. It's a new Sega Genesis game. Believe it or not, there's a company called Watermelon Games. I'm going to be interviewing the guy over there actually in the next couple weeks. But they produce they produce new Sega Genesis games, full cartridge, everything. And this was a JRPG style game made from the ground up, and it came out in 2010, but they reissued it because the eBay prices were getting ridiculous. People wanted it, and I just got my copy in from the reissue a couple days ago, and that's what I've been playing, and it's a lot of fun. I'm actually having a lot of fun with this JRPG. Maybe it's just the fact that I'm like, oh my god, I'm playing a new Sega Genesis game. This is crazy. Maybe it's just that, but it's a lot of fun.
It could be. I mean, it's part of it brings you into it.
Yeah, part of it is that it reminds me of the first time I played Final Fantasy, well, 2, 4, whatever. That was my first introduction to JRPGs when I was about 11 years old. So it kind of reminds me of that. I feel like I'm kind of revisiting that. So that's probably why. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's cool. Having a good time.
It's amazing when you play a game that you get some retro factor from something that you just loved as a kid, and that's what draws you into that game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that's what we were talking. The retro stuff is making such a comeback now, and it's actually feasible for a company to produce games for a system that's been dead for 20 years. You know, it's like it's just kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
You have to wonder who, like, the first person, the first company that got the order for wholesale, like, to make these cartridges.
Yeah, to make these cartridges.
They have to be like,
yeah, what?
Are you sure?
You want to do
sure?
what?
Sega Genesis. This is not a typo. It's
yeah.
But that's awesome.
It's crazy, man. Yeah, they're working on a Super Nintendo game. Also, I guess they're starting a Super Nintendo game and another Sega Genesis game that's going to be a brawler, like an old Final Fight, Streets of Rage type of game. So, very cool stuff, man.
So if you guys take anything from this, you guys need to go out and, like myself, I need to go out and get a Genesis, get a Super Nintendo, get all the other older consoles that are missing before they get jacked up in price, because that's where it's about.
They're already heading there, man. You can't even go to the flea market and find a NES for less than $50, man. It's ridiculous at the flea market, you know. So yeah,
cool.
That's pretty much all. It's pretty much all I've been playing until Bloodborne. So.
Oh, yeah. Bloodborne! It's coming. It's coming next week.
Next week.
I gotta finish Pure Solaire before that comes out. So, my PS4 is sitting in the box unopened. It's sad. I'm waiting. Wait, hold on. I'm waiting for a reason to open it.
It's the Bloodborne is a PS4 exclusive.
PS4 exclusive. Yep. That's
God
why.
Damn it.
Otherwise, I would have just got it on a PC. On the PC. You know?
Yeah, that's what I would have.
Man.
That's what I would have gotten it on. But anyway, all right. Let's bring the show to a close here, fellas. So, what have you learned today? People are always late to stuff. I don't know what's going on. Nah, I'm stopping playing. That's
Australian people are crazy. They make cool suits.
Yeah. There are real life superheroes.
Yes, and they actually look pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Phoenix Jones.
Phoenix looks cool. Badass, man. He does.
Him and his wife looked really badass. You know, and if you go to Australia, you know, make sure you get your carbon fiber suit. It's gonna have hit points.
Go to the Jam and Earl Kickstarter and donate your money.
Yes.
Now.
Give Greg some money, please.
Yes.
Yeah, please head on over to Kickstarter and do that immediately. Anyway, thank you guys for watching the show, and you know, be sure to follow us, and you know, everything you need to know about us will be on the Pondering Nerds website, and
Gaming Rebellion website.
Now Gaming Rebellion as well. So we'll be up there, you know, all fancy with Nate's nice you know, banner. It's gonna be an interesting banner, I would say.
Definitely think about joining the community while you're there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Yeah, if you got content you want promoted, anything, Let's Play videos, if you want to write a blog, whatever you want to do, we got the community, and you know, we promote it for you. So.
You could even end up right here to talk about it. So
yeah.
You can harass Nate if you want to be.
Yeah.
Hey, make fun of the ginger. Everybody else does.
And we're on Stitcher now, right?
Stitcher is still they're giving
still
me,
pending.
They're like the whole thing is pending. They're like something to do with the website. They're like, oh, they're not friends or some shit. I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm trying to remedy that issue as soon as possible.
We will be up there very soon.
Yeah. So thank you guys for tuning in. As always, we love you all gamers out there, and we love all the nerds out there. And see you in the next episode. Bye.
Peace.
Later.